The D-Tycoon Show. Bill Morton is the president of the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce, will be with us shortly. I am Trudy Leong, administrator of the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce. Today, we will be discussing the CTA, which we discussed in previous shows. We have noticed that it has been a little better, and it seems as if there are fewer security officers at let's say the Roosevelt stations, and even fewer of the security canine officers as well. It seems as if the situation is better, but what we always do is that we go to the first car, and then the security officers and the canine officers are at the stations. But Bill, you ride the CTA a little bit more than I do because you have so many events to attend. What has been your experience recently?
CTA, are we talking about the buses or the rail cars?
The rail cars first.
Well, the rail cars are horrible. I saw a woman recently, and there was a penny. There was a penny on the floor, and so it was upside down. It was like, the little Capitol building was face up instead of Abraham Lincoln's face.
Tails.
It was tails. You got it. Tails. There you go. You know you're gambling. Okay, so it was tails instead of heads, and this woman was with two of her friends. And she goes and she puts her hand on the floor. And then she goes down and she's like this. And she flips the coin. So it's heads. And she pushes it down with her finger and sits down. So she's touching that floor with her hand. And she's touching that dirty penny with her hand because I guess it's her belief or suspicion that makes it lucky. And then her friends ask, well, you're not going to pick that up yourself? And she says, no, I just flipped it for the next person. So that's what I have to say about the rail cars. There's all kinds of bad on the floor, on the things you hold on to, on the doors, every surface of those rail cars on the interior and exterior have got something on it. And, I'm going to start wearing gloves, I think, and a mask because I was recently updated by our friend Eric Vizier that, how they have to clean. They go in between the two rail cars to urinate and defecate. Sometimes they do it in the cars. Sometimes they do it on the seat. Sometimes it's on their hands. Sometimes they're touching something. Sometimes there's graffiti on the door, and they have to use this acid stuff. And that's what makes those brown streaks. You'll see it. Now you'll notice it. Brown streaks on the door. That's acid trying to corrode away the graffiti. And they only have between maybe 5 or 8 minutes at the end of each line. So Howard and 95th, they have 5 minutes at Howard, 5 or 8 minutes at 95th before it goes back around again for them to clean all 8 rail cars. And so that's just not going to get done. So when they put this corrosive acid stuff to clean up the graffiti, when you see the brown, that means they didn't wipe it off yet. They didn't have time to wipe that acid off, and I wouldn't touch that. And I see people biting their fingernails. I see people eating a sandwich. I see people rubbing their eyes and touching items that are on the floor. And I see people sitting. I see like white substance or streaks on a seat. I saw that. And this girl just puts her butt down on it. And it's just like, I skipped that seat. I don't know what that is, but she just didn't even care or look. Please be aware. Please be aware for public health safety concerns. Please be aware of what's going on in your surroundings. And that's what I have to say about the rail cars.
Well, in your tale of the CTA penny tails, what's that in the first card? Because when you're with me, we usually write the first card.
I don't recall if it was the first car. I don't think it was actually. It was during the day, and it probably likely was not the first car. But I try to ride the first car as much as possible because it is safer. It's statistically safer in the first car. You have the conductor in that car, the one conductor. There used to be two. I've been informed there used to be two, and there are efforts to bring back two, not official CTA efforts, but there are people calling for two conductors again to make the train ride safer, because there's two officials on the train instead of just one person to help you, and also to make your ride more timely. If there's an issue, if there's somebody that has a wheelchair and they have to put out that little ramp, they could be doing that, and the other person can be getting ready to start the train or something. I don't know exactly how that works, but they can double team things and make the trains more efficient if you had two conductors. So I've heard.
Well, when you and I debarked the train at the Jarvis, there were a couple of times when we ran into these elderly folks who walk with a cane, and then they look at those steps and they are dreading how to get up there. And one of them even asked Bill and me, where's the elevator? Is there an escalator?
Yes, and I often, because of my frustration with the situation on Morrison Jarvis, if I see somebody, I try to grab their elbow and try to help them up. And if they don't want any help, I can understand that. Everyone needs their space, but I vocally say, this station should be ADA accessible and needs elevators and escalators for you and everybody. And then they agree. They wholeheartedly agree. Oh, yes, it does. So we've got something here. If we started more of a campaign, I mean, I've been saying it all along at CTA board meetings. Anytime I talk about the CTA, I speak on how all of these stations legally have to be ADA accessible, so everybody can use them. And so people aren't having the danger of falling downstairs. We had someone fall down the stairs at Loyola Station. And those stairs are treacherous. They're really steep. I counted Morrison and Jarvis stations. There's like 40 or so, 48, 46 steps, something like that. And then you have, I've seen a woman with her baby stroller and a baby or two in there, and she's bumping down the stairs with her baby's legs going like this as it's going down the stairs. I went shopping and I had one of those carts, the little shopping carts, and I'm trying to drag it up the stairs, and because it was so heavy, because I had some water jugs in there, I almost started going forward. And if I would have went forward too much, I would have went down those stairs. And you know what? That would have been too bad and too sad and too late. We're telling the CTA and the City of Chicago right now so that we can prevent these kind of things from happening, or prevent them from happening even more than they already have.
Well, tomorrow is the CTA board meeting, and if you are inclined, our viewers, to speak at public comment about your experiences at the CTA, just Google CTA board meetings, and you can submit a public comment form just as soon as possible. If they might be able to accommodate you, you will have 3 minutes to speak.
You get 3 minutes to speak. You have to register beforehand. You can do it now. If you go to the CTA website, you can find, I don't know where it is exactly, but you can find the link and you can register to be on public comment. It's called public comment.
Just Google CTA board meeting, and then meeting dates and agenda will come up, and then the public comment form is tucked away in there too. And when you fill it out, just email it back to the secretary of the board, Georgette. She's very, very nice.
She's wonderful, actually, Georgette. Hello, Georgette. I know you're watching. It's not all doom and gloom on the CTA. Like I said before, we respect the board, the workers, and everybody in the CTA. We know it is one heck of a hard job, but really not efficient. Really should be listening to your constituents a little bit more, in my opinion. Should put your money more on, in my opinion, you should put your money more on public health and public safety, because public health and public safety are number one, always. It's the most important thing. If you're not healthy and you're not safe, then you're dead. Then you're dead. Then you're sick and you're dead. And maybe passing it on to someone else. It's that serious. So while I took the Ashland, the number 9 bus, and I counted them. There were like 14 Ashland buses on my trip going north and going south. There were X9, Ashland Express, and then there were the 9s. And I took Ashland only from Fullerton to Roosevelt to get here. That's why I ran a little bit late, because of the bus. But the whole thing about this is you're focusing on every 8 minutes there's a bus, but then there's bus bunching. So it kind of like all of that time and effort and funding to make it a bus come every 8 minutes. I would rather you put that time, money, and energy into making those rail cars safe and healthy.
What people tell us is that they are just afraid to ride the CTA. We have a friend that said that he actually quit his job so that he does not have to ride the CTA anymore. And we see that oftentimes, Bill pointed out to me how on the day of the CTA board meeting, the stations are clean, but we appreciate that. We know you want to make a good impression.
On the days of your board meetings, it smells like bleach on every station. We understand.
But if you could, in any way, dedicate more money to supporting the employees who try to clean those trains, and then appointing the security officers to ride the trains, not to be only at the stations, to be on the trains unexpectedly, so that whoever is on the train there who might be causing trouble, they will know that they might be encountering a security officer, and they will not be as comfortable about what they do on the CTA trains. Because, Bill, you've told me about a lot of instances where you felt that you were in danger, and if you like, maybe you could tell us another one.
Sure. I was on the train. I was coming back home, northbound, towards Howard on the Red Line. I believe it was rush hour, and there were a lot of people on the trains, and there was this blonde-haired kid with a skateboard, and he spoke like he was from the South. He had like this glaze in his eyes, like he doesn't know what's going on in the city. He stuck out like a sore thumb, and everybody saw that. And this guy, and he was amped up on something. He saw it as well, and he was picking on this guy. And so it got to the point where we got to one of the stations. It might have been Granville or something like that. And what happened was, as the doors were about to open, this guy took a swing, put him in a headlock, pulled him out onto the platform. This guy was trying to get away. The skateboard went flying one direction. The cell phone, the backpack. It was a backpack he had. The guy flung it into the pits with the electrical. And what happened, the creepiest part about this was, it wasn't just a fight with somebody on drugs and some country mouse. It was the fact that he was trying to get out, push him away, and this guy bit his thumb and finger right over here, with his teeth. And it was really messed up. And we don't know what this guy has or what he could give to this guy. These people are biting with their teeth. They're biting other people. And he got away, and then, everybody came to him, and the train had to stop. And then I mentioned you should go to the hospital. And so the conductor said he would take him to Howard Station and have an ambulance waiting for him there to go to St. Francis Hospital, because that was not an option not to go with something like that happening. And I can tell you many stories, but that one always sticks out. It was so morbid. It was the guy said, "Are you afraid of me? Are you afraid of me?" And then you go, "Why would I be afraid of you?" And this and that, and then just like that, boom, happened. And it can happen just like that. And I'll tell you something, nobody pressed that button. Nobody presses that button because they don't want to get involved in a violent confrontation where maybe he has a knife. Maybe he's got a needle. Maybe he's got a gun. Maybe he'll bite you in the face or something. Nobody wants to be a part of that. We did what we could, but it happened so fast, and the guy got away. The guy got away. With so many cameras, I don't understand why. Why weren't there police around? Why do they let him go down and run away? I'm certain he wasn't gotten, although there are so many cameras on the station. There are a lot of issues a lot of things to unpack about this that are just morbid and disturbing and disgusting, in my opinion.
Luckily, I did not encounter that. But what time of day was it? Was it late?
Rush hour.
Rush hour.
Rush hour. Yeah, after work.
So it's not the overnight hours that are that people have to avoid. Even during rush hour, when people should be the safest because there are so many people around, you still hesitate to ride the CTA. And the CTA is such a good system for to connect the points in the city. But what a waste! And if the CTA were to be able to put those security officers on the trains, so that you won't know where they would be, and they might be everywhere. That should deter this kind of behavior.
And I've spoken at the CTA board, public comment quite a bit. We've gotten responses. We've been listened to and responded to, and we've had subsequent meetings outside of the board meetings and public comment due to our concerns with the CTA, with the infrastructure officer, with the head of the RPM project at the CTA headquarters and at the RPM office in Edgewater. We've been there, and any question that we had asked them was appropriately answered. It's really something, and they're giving us opportunity to be a part of it as well. So there is so much going on. We've got this fiscal cliff. Then, at first it was a fiscal cliff, right? And then it's doomsday, they're calling it. CTA doomsday is like after you drop off the cliff, that's the doomsday. And at the very same time, City of Chicago is about $1 billion in debt. Roughly. And Mayor Johnson, I mentioned it before, I mentioned it in a previous show, and I have more details now for you. Mayor Johnson is going to raise the grocery taxes for us all. And I believe that raising the grocery taxes is kind of like when Madam President of Cook County, Toni Preckwinkle, had her sugar tax. And do you know what's kind of interesting is Brandon Johnson, Commissioner Brandon Johnson, was on the Board of Commissioners during that soda tax. So it's very much alike in very many ways. And I believe that a grocery tax will really hurt a great portion of Chicagoans. Why don't you do what do they call that? The tax on the liquor, the tax on the cigarettes, the tax on, a vice tax. Why don't you do a vice tax instead? Why you got a attack with the sugar tax? It included baby formula, some waters, and sport drinks. This grocery tax, that's food in our mouths.
Yeah. Why hurt the hardworking people who are trying to keep food on the table and keep a roof over their house? The vice taxes are much better, since those people are able to pay about $20 for 1 pack of cigarettes and pay for liquor. They must be able to pay a little bit more tax as well.
You know, those people who are drinking the 6-pack every single day, they're going to spend that money anyway, no matter how much it is. They're going to find the cheapest 6-pack of beer that'll get them buzzed the most, and it doesn't make a difference if you charge $4 extra tax per 6-pack. That's extreme, I understand. It's not going to happen, but it doesn't make a difference at all. It's still going to be purchased. But the groceries, we have infants and children, and we have teens, preteens and teens, and then we have adults, and we have all kinds of people, the elderly, and we need to eat. Don't tax our groceries. They're basic needs.
Getting back to the CTA, we really feel that it is important for you to be aware, and then be aware of your surroundings, and don't try to be assertive, and don't look weak. Don't look like a victim. Don't be afraid, and just be assertive, and have a goal, have purpose, so that you don't get robbed or attacked. Could you tell me about that? Repeat for the audience that story you told me about the Asian couple.
Sure, I will. But I just want to kind of come off what you're saying. You have to be confident, and you have to go with your gut. Trust your gut. You got a feeling you're in trouble, then you are in trouble. So just get off the train if you need to. Hit that button before something happens, or if something happens, if you need to. Go to the next car. Trudy and I, we get off the train, and we run to the next rail car if there's someone smoking crack or something crazy going on in there. So that's what that is. The story. I was doing a YouTube live video. I'll make this brief. I was doing a YouTube live video, and there was an Asian couple, a young Asian couple there. And there was this black guy, and he came up to me first, and he was like, "You got a problem? You got a problem?" He was like, right nose to nose. And I was like, "I don't got a problem. I don't know what you're talking about." And he didn't like my answer at all, but I stood my ground. And, I was very confident about where I was, and that I'm not going to have an issue with this guy. But he saw that this Asian couple was not. He took advantage of that, and he grabbed their bags and he threw them, and he started beating their groceries or whatever was in all of their bags on the ground, fragile or not. And then this woman on the rail car said, "You ought to be ashamed of yourself. They didn't do anything to you." And this is what we're dealing with on the CTA rail cars every single day.
If you have a story about the CTA and are hesitant to speak to the CTA board, please send them to us at RogersParkChamberOfCommerce@gmail.com. RogersParkChamberOfCommerce@gmail.com. This is Bill Morton, President of the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce. I am Trudy Leong, Administrator of the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you again.